this were your child, wouldn't you want to know what happened?
The mom asked for Nolan's phone.
Right.
Was there a struggle over it, or did you guys hand it over?
I mean, just handed it over. I mean, we didn't think anything of it. Like, she asked for Nolan's phone. We knew they were close friends with, the Wells family, and my buddy went out to his truck and handed the phone over. No complications, no issue, nothing. But I mean, I told Miss Christine that we had his phone and he had left it in our possession on the boat.
When did you talk to her about that?
When I was I didn't talk to her once. Like, it was like 12:30. I mean, I might have texted her a couple times and talked briefly about a couple things, but I told her on the phone before I called the Coast Guard that we had Nolan's phone. Before I called Miss Christine, none of us had a reason to go through Nolan's phone. I mean, there's multiple phones on the boat. Why would it be? And the boat was having issues. Why would our concern be getting on Nolan's phone or something? I mean, I don't even know Nolan's password. None of my friends do. We had no reason ever to get on Nolan's phone and look at anything. I didn't even touch Nolan's phone. None of us touched Nolan's phone until somebody took it off the boat and put it in Wyatt's truck, and then no one touched it until we handed it back, to the mom that was at my buddy.
The fact that the friend is saying that they had no reason to touch Nolan's phone, that they do not have the password, is crazy. Anybody can access through face features. All they had to do was put the phone in Nolan's face to unlock it.
On multiple social media giants seeking his account information and data. This into the investigation of the teen college football player's mysterious death. They were issued in the last 24 hours, including Snapchat, WhatsApp, TikTok, Meta platforms, Life 360, and these are according to court documents demanding the companies turn over all materials, info related to Nolan's accounts. This includes current and prior usernames, passwords, email addresses, phone numbers, even displayed names. They want IP addresses associated with every account, all communications, chats, posts, stories, and info. His cell phone has become a critical issue in the probe into Nolan's death. What happened to Nolan? Now, his mother, Christine, says when her son's phone was brought to the family, they had concerns because there were no pictures or videos on either of his Snapchat accounts. Triggering their fear, items may have been deleted. That's what's happening. There's been a lot of controversy. Were photos, were texts deleted? Were snaps deleted? We've been trying to figure it out, but we're seeing through a mirror darkly. We don't know. But according to experts, a trail will be left if anything has been deleted, even if you delete it from the deleted file. Now, joining us, special guest, Brandon Tatum. You know him well. He's a former police officer with Tucson PD. That's what impresses me. What impresses a lot of other people is he is the star of The Officer Tatum. Officer Tatum, thank you for being with us tonight. Question to you. You interviewed, as we played at the get-go, several of Nolan's friends. Did they show you photos, videos, snaps of that day on Horn Island?
Well, Nancy, thank you so much for having me on. I spoke to 4 of the boys that are originally accused of being involved in Nolan Wells' death. And they did show me a lot of evidence. I want people to be very clear with this. I spent my career putting people in jail. My career is based on getting justice for people who have been done wrong. I've never been a defense attorney. So me going out and doing this was to find out what happened to Nolan Wells. And in talking to these young men, the burden of proof is they're going to have to prove to me. I'm not going to listen to what they say out of their mouth. They're going to have to show me. And in many cases, they showed me videos of Nolan on the island. They showed me videos of the boat when they were getting towed out, which is consistent with, kind of similar to what the phone call was. I mean, they showed me pictures of them with Nolan. They showed me phone records of them calling Nolan's mom and all of the above. So they seemed very consistent. They seemed very genuine. And they also proved to me some of the things that they had told me in the interview that I had with them that I have uploaded on my YouTube channel.
Officer Tatum, are you telling me that they had reception on Horn Island? Because many people are saying, well, the reason that there's nothing on Nolan's phone of that day, like there's no pictures, there's no snaps, there's no text, there's no anything, not because it was deleted, but because he didn't have reception. But you're telling me the other boys did have snaps, photos, videos, and reception?
Yeah, no, Nancy, let me clarify this for you. It wasn't that they uploaded this online. They showed me videos and things that they took from the boat during the outing on 4th of July. I was personally out at Horn Island. I rode out there on a boat, and I didn't have great reception there. And I left my phone in the boat when I got into the water and we were actually going out to do interviews.
Objection. Objection. You've been in court long enough to know you're going to get objections. You said you didn't have great reception, but you did have reception, did you not?
No, there was reception there. It just wasn't great, and it wasn't great enough for people, in my opinion, to upload. You can make a phone call potentially, but you wasn't going to upload data to a social media account. Now, could people take the steps to do it if they're dedicated enough? Yes, but it doesn't appear that would have been a frequent thing, given the fact that you probably had one or two bars out there. And I heard evidence of that. Not only did I see evidence of it when I went out there myself personally with my cell phone, when I listened to the CETO call, you could tell that the call dropped out several times. It seemed like they were having trouble at times hearing each other. So it is consistent. And anybody that travel out there that have gone to the 4th of July celebration, they know that the reception is not very great. So the videos that they showed me in call logs were things that were not associated to social media, that they never posted on social media. It was, pictures and videos that they took on their phone.
Okay. Let me refine my question. I take it from your last answer that the answer is yes, you had reception on Horn Island.
Yes, I did have reception on Horn Island.
We just played that CETO call. It's two words, SEATOW, and it's kind of insurance that people have that are boat goers. And if you have a problem, CETO will come and tow you back to the mainland. They said they had a problem. They said they were taking on water. One of your takes is that all the chatter that we're hearing, wake up Nolan, are you dead, Nolan, wake the F up, Nolan, could be referring to the battery, the bilge on the boat, that it's all unclear. Regarding the boat being disabled, apparently it was not.
a.m. The boat leaves the original dock. It arrives at Horn Island at 11:14. So at around 4 o'clock, there is a call to the Coast Guard about the boat. NBC News got a hold of it.
We're sinking. Can you all please come?
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
Everybody's on board. So does that mean Nolan is on there? Who was on that boat? At 4:31, the boat leaves Horn Island and it is towed approximately 3 miles, and then the tow ends. So after 3 miles, they go back to the original dock, okay? They arrive at 5:44 p.m. So it looks like this is where Horn Island is, and this is where the original dock is that I am referring to. I looked it up, and El Camino Real Road is in Gulf Hills, Mississippi, which is right above Ocean Springs. So I'm wondering if this is the house where they got the phone. Now, the boat travels to Fort Bayou. At 6:06, the boat returns to the original dock. Then, from the original dock, the boat goes back to Fort Bayou, and then they go to the boat launch, and it is put onto the trailer and moved by the vehicle. Did they drop people off at the original dock, travel to Fort Bayou, pick somebody up, and go back to that original dock? And then from there, why was there an hour and 13-minute time gap? This boat was sinking hours before, and then they're just having it docked for an hour and 13 minutes. You would think they'd want to get that boat out of the water ASAP.
Again, in my previous blog, I talked about how the caller was very distracted. He was trying to mute the call, but it was too late, saying, "Is he dead? Nolan, don't die."
That from the real TikTok detective. The boat wasn't sinking. They told Cito it was sinking. What's the truth? Was it sinking and they repaired it? Did they have a leak and they repaired it and kept on SOP? Brandon Tatum joining us, former cop, now star of The Officer Tatum. Did the young man explain those travels we just identified?
Yeah, 100% they did that. I wish that people on the internet would have had an opportunity, and they can go look at the interview that I did with Warren, but they had an opportunity to actually talk to these young men to get this in perspective, because some people have no idea how boats function and how they work. They explained to me, they took me on a boat and showed me exactly where they went, where they docked, where did they, stop at, how did they get the bilge pump and the water out of the boat and all of the above. So they were sinking, they were taking on water. The water came up high enough that the batteries weren't working. They had to get a tow to kind of tow them out. Where you can see the young lady saying about 3 miles out. It's a complicated boat's jargon, but they ended up getting the boat out. They ended up getting it to the point where they could run the water out of the boat through a hole in the boat that they ended up plugging. They explained all this. Anybody that does boating know exactly what they're talking about if you hear them explain it on the interview. So they have an explanation for all of these things. And not only that, Nancy, they showed me video of them on the boat, and Nolan was not on the boat. Nolan was not on the boat log, and there are people who saw Nolan on the island closer to around 6 p.m., which is far after they left, far after this phone call was made. I saw text messages from the young lady that Nolan was with, the young lady named Katie. I saw her text messages. In her text messages, she say that she heard the boys yelling for Nolan to get on the boat. He did not. She said in her text message that she did not see Nolan get on the boat he came on, which was Wyatt's boat, which is the boat that was sinking and they ended up leaving on. So it wasn't just a statement that they made on a podcast. They were actually showing me evidence to the contrary of what the mainstream YouTubers and some media outlets are putting out to people at large. And so I wish that people would go watch the interview or at least take some time to listen to these boys' statement. And I'll say this, Nancy, too. I wish that the family would have taken the time, or at least Benjamin Crump would have taken the time to reach out to the lawyers or reach out to these young boys to get their statements, so they're not wasting their time sending everybody on a rabbit trail when they could have just talked to these boys. And they could have, but they refused, because I saw a message from Warren where he called Nolan's mom twice. I've seen messages from Warren's stepmother, Ashley, where she sent Nolan's mom a text saying, "Please reach out to me whenever you're ready. I would like to talk." Other parents I saw messages from who reached out to Nolan's mom saying, "We need to talk." Crump would go out and put misinformation out online when he had the availability to talk to these kids and clear these things up like I did before he presented this to the public. We also reached out to Benjamin Crump 4 times. And on the 5th time, they come back and tell us that the family is not doing interviews. We didn't ask to talk to the family. We asked to talk to the attorney, Benjamin Crump. Why? So we can come together as a community and solve what happened to Nolan Wells, not create and stoke division, which is what I've seen
Mr.
from
Tatum,
Benjamin Crump.
That is exactly what we're trying to do. And I hear everything you're saying. And, I think like a prosecutor. My main goal is to find the truth of what happened to Nolan Wells. And one thing I cannot get away from is the medical examiner. I'm trying to get to tonight's news, which I'm going to get to. But, you were seeing video from WLOX. Speaking of sinking, is at an alleged issue with the boat bilge. Well, Randy and Bunny on TikTok have their interpretation of that. Watch this.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
What'd
Hello?
you say? Hey,
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
it's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
That from Randy and Bunny on TikTok.
So my question is, if the boat was sinking and the tow came and towed it about 3 miles, how did it all of a sudden regain its own power?
Joe Scott Morgan, very quickly, before I can get into why the family believes they need subpoenas to social media giants to get the truth about what happened to Nolan's phone. Anybody can say anything after the fact. Those boys may be innocent. They can look like choir boys, angels now, but I still don't know what happened on that boat, and I still see conflicts. Can they be reconciled? I hope so. But until they are, we're on it. This is what I can't get away from. Control room, please show Joseph Scott Morgan eye detections tests. I don't put any stock in that as to whether somebody's lying. You've got nonverbal communication experts claiming they can tell. You've got brainwave analysis. You've got all sorts of things. I want a poly.
Right.
I'm not saying they did anything or they didn't do anything. Go, strap up, take me a poly. Officer Tatum, star of The Officer Tatum on YouTube. I've been dogs and cadaver dogs. Is that true?
I'm not familiar if that's true. Let me just clarify. The test that they took was a voice stress analysis test instead of what we call a traditional polygraph test. But I'm not familiar with the cadaver dog searching the boat. I wasn't informed that that was the case. But I was told by the boys that they did not wash the boat off or do any of those things that they were accused of doing, after this incident.
Right.
And I say, based on all the things that I've heard, it appears that they've been very truthful with me. And law enforcement. They've already communicated with law enforcement very early on.
Okay, Officer Tatum, coming from you, I do give that credence because you were a Tucson PD. I've had people sit down, look me right in the face and lie, and they are so convincing. So I don't know who's telling the truth. I don't know what happened, and that's why I really resent people suggesting the investigation be shut down. We're not doing that until we know what happened. Officer Tatum interviewed multiple of the young men on that boat. Now, let me address what's happened in the last hours. The family is not buying what they are saying, that nothing was deleted. They're not saying they're lying. They're not saying they're telling the truth.
A trail will be left and there will be no hiding. Platforms universally honor data preservation letters. This prevents routine server overwrites while legal processes play out.
Tatum show, he has interviewed several of the young men that were on the boat when Nolan Wells was taken to Horn Island. They say he was not on the boat on the return trip, although audio seems to suggest otherwise. Listen to the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources call.
Detail assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
What'd
Hello?
you say? Hey,
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
it's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
All right, well, let's get you going. Membership number or phone number listed on the account, sir?
I don't know the phone number. It's either. I think it's. Try that.
All right.
I know we have a membership like guaranteed. I don't
All
have the
right.
tag
Unless
on
you
here.
have a
It got ripped
membership
off.
number or anything, it's okay. I'll get you over to the captain. What's the best phone number to reach you at?
Reach me at
Particular phrases in that call, if it's to be believed, Nolan don't die. Sure, he's dead. Is he dead? Nolan, OMG. Wake the F up. It goes on. I thought he was on the check his chest. That, if it's to be believed, suggests that Nolan was on that boat. Tatum says the witnesses are clear. He was not on the boat. Tonight, we learned in the last 24 hours everything there is to get about Nolan Wells Digital. Okay, straight out to Dr. Jim Jones joining us out of Virginia. Jones, Dr. Jones, cybersecurity digital forensics expert, digital forensics program director, associate professor, George Mason University. Okay, can't argue with that. Okay, Dr. Jones, what will the evidence reveal? Let's just start on Nolan Wells' cell phone. Let's start with Snapchat.
Sure. So on his cell phone, any images taken for whatever app are going to be stored locally, at least temporarily. So Snap is one of those apps that deletes the picture afterwards. The key here is that when digital files are deleted, the data does not immediately go away. So the data is left intact at least for fractions of a second, sometimes hours, days, weeks. So what they'll find, assuming that they have access to the unencrypted data on the phone, is they will find bits and pieces of old text messages, videos, pictures taken.
What are your thoughts? Why are they trying to cover up? Do they really think Christine is going to allow them to keep playing in her and her husband's face? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and leave your comments down below. More details as the story unfolds.